Now to the Labour leadership battle and the leadership challenger. Owen Smith has accused Jeremy Corbyn of deepening the divisions in the Labour Party by suggesting that party members decide who will be in his shadow cabinet. Mr Smith also accused the pro-Corbyn campaign group Momentum of plotting to deselect some MPs. This is a bit of what he said.
In parts of the country, in most parts of the country, Momentum are seeking, in their words, to take over the party and to deselect people, talking about handing out redundancy notices to party staff members. You know, the contrast is they're talking about spending members' money on redundancy payments to staff members. I'm talking about hiring new staff members, using that money in order to put organise into the key seats we need to win the next general election. As I pointed out in the last hustings, Jeremy doesn't even know how many seats we need to win to form a government.
On Smith there, well, James Schneider is a leading organiser of the group, and he joins me now. And a very good morning to you, Mr Schneider. Well, there are some specific charges there and a general one. Let's start with the specific one, and it's been talked about for a while. Deselecting MPs who don't appear loyal to Mr Corbyn.
Momentum has been extremely clear all the way through. We're not campaigning for any deselections, and we're not campaigning for mandatory reselection. The bit in the clip that you don't see beforehand, Owen Smith is talking about a documentary which is due to air tomorrow, which he hasn't seen and you haven't seen and I haven't seen. But the allegations that are put in that have been put to us are not even what he said there, that we're apparently plotting all over the country for deselections. It simply isn't the case.
Well, I mean, some of the other allegations, you're right, it hasn't been broadcast yet, but some of the other allegations that have been released in advance, and Mr Smith alluding to them there, that there are parallels with the militant group in the 1980s, an entryist party who wants to take over the Labour Party, to hollow it out and for you to control it.
No, I mean, that's what Owen said on Friday in a speech, which is really unfortunate, and you know, some people are upset by it, but what we've said is, come and meet us, come and meet our members, and let's clear up any misconceptions that you have, because a lot of our members, they weren't born when militant was going on. They don't have the same politics. We're 18,000 members in Momentum, 150,000 supporters. Overwhelmingly are members of the Labour Party. If they're not members of the Labour Party, they're affiliated through their trade union or their supporters. This is a Labour movement organisation which is trying to make the Labour Party more participatory, more democratic and more campaigning.
So, I mean, much looser, not a Trotskyite sect who are plotting to take things over, a looser group coalescing around the leadership of Jeremy Corbyn and some of his ideals. Is that what you're telling me?
I mean, I'm not sure how you mean by looser group and Trotskyite group. I mean, I'm not really sure how they work. I'm not part of them. I think they're really very marginal to not only the Labour Party, but to British politics full stop. But yes, it's a group of people who are inspired and enthused by Jeremy Corbyn and his ideas, who want to go and take those to make the Labour Party a force for change, even stronger force for change in the country, win elections and transform society in the interest of the overall.
Then let's take all that out of it. And then, I mean, on the issue of deselection, individually, constituencies may decide that they're going a different way from their MPs' beliefs, and they'd like a different one.
Selections are a matter for local party members and affiliates. That's absolutely right, and that's their right. But it's not the role for Momentum to be campaigning for one particular deselection or another.
But then they would have conversations, presumably, with other activists in other constituencies saying, how do you do it? What should we do? Who should we get?
Look, Labour members, as rules laid out through party conference and through the National Executive Committee, have the right, through agreed processes, to select their candidates. That's not weird, that's not strange, that's not abusive, that's a cornerstone of representative democracy, that you can have some say over who your representatives are. Now, that's one thing. That's been suggested that because that is a mechanism...
I mean, but just on that, correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't, under representative democracy, aren't the MPs for a constituency meant to represent all constituents, not just the party members that they represent?
Absolutely, but a Labour MP is a representative of the Labour Party, elected by their members and affiliates in their area. They're also the elected MP for all of their constituents. It's the same for any Tory MP or any other MP, because they come from the party. They're elected, you know, Jeremy Corbyn, when he's elected in Islington North, or Owen Smith, or whoever they're elected as the Labour candidate. So they are doing two things. They are accountable back to their Labour membership. They're accountable to their constituents.
Well, in terms of that accountability, what about this hit list? Just after Jeremy Corbyn Corbyn had had a very good day. It was seen in the House of Commons against the Prime Minister Theresa May. This list emerges of MPs that aren't helpful, including the Deputy Leader, Tom Watson, who's described Momentum as a rabble.
Well,
I mean, is there a hit list?
No, there's not a hit list. Should definitely not be described as a hit list. What happened was a notes to editor of one press release which shouldn't be sent out, which went to one journalist. There was a list of occasions where MPs have been abusive to Jeremy Corbyn or his supporters. It's not a hit list. There's not some calculated plan. It was a list of publicly available examples of something which were not meant to be sent out.
You say it shouldn't be sent out. Surely it shouldn't have been compiled.
Well, a list of areas where someone has been publicly abusive or just done opposition. That's not a peculiar thing to have, but the idea that is somehow linked to some plot to remove them as MPs there's no evidence of that. It is just nonsense.
But Mr. Schneider, what does it exist for then? Is it just people to look at and go, oh well, there they are?
I mean, look, I don't know.
Shall we act accordingly?
No, this was not a list that was going to be put out in public. And what do you mean act accordingly? Of course, both campaigns will know who's supportive of them, who isn't supportive of them, the ways in which they're being supportive or not supportive. That's perfectly normal.
So do you think there will be more lists like this?
No, I don't think there'll be more lists like this. I mean, the campaign apologised for accidentally putting it out. No, there's not going to be more lists like this. I mean, it's slightly a red herring, I think.
OK, and on this, it's been talked about for a while, getting the membership involved in policy and selecting the shadow cabinet. You see that as the right way to go to represent the membership?
Sounds very democratic to me. It sounds. I mean, there are no as far as I understand it from the Observer this morning, there aren't any actual proposals being put forward. It's something that's going to be discussed at the National Executive Committee, and there's ideas about how much the leader should be able to do, how much the parliamentary party should be able to do, and how much the members should be able to do. That seems like a kind of reasonable balance, a reasonable approach to talk about those things in a democratic party.
And just, we haven't really talked about the results, the expected result that Mr. Corbyn gets back in as leader again, well, remains as leader with a bigger majority, a bigger share. Do you think that then strengthens his hand and says to those that have opposed him, particularly members of the Parliamentary Labour Party, shut up, support him, he is your leader?
No, I wouldn't say it says shut up. I think that's wrong. I think what it does say, if Jeremy wins, it does say, look, here is a mandate. This is the direction that the party is going on, the changes that the party is undertaking to changes of policy and to become more member-led. That's what the members want. And there is, I think, a duty incumbent on everyone to respect that result in some way. Now, that doesn't mean you just fall in line and you say we agree with everything and everything's right, but what's the way in which we criticise? Let's have debates about policy. Let's say, well, actually, we don't like this policy, we'd like it to be more like this, rather than trying to undermine the whole leadership. The party needs to come together, because when we come together, we're able to take on the Tories.
But if those people on this list, these MPs on this list, took the decision to voluntarily leave, you wouldn't oppose them?
What, to split and form a new party? Absolutely would oppose that. It's a real problem for the Labour Party if there's a split. No one wants to see that.
And you want to see these people stay? Within the Labour Party?
Yeah, I don't want to see any of them leave the Labour Party, of course not.
OK, Mr. Schneider, good to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed. James Schneider.